This be the first one. Documented and shit. That'll work. Alright. So, my dog is drinking water. Probably can't hear all that at the same time. Knuckles popping, aching through it. This is video 1. And that's about how much I overthink about every single detail of every moment that I ever do. This is just pressing start on a camera phone and being able to start talking about the goodness of God, which is everything. In an absolute sense, because all is for His glory. So to think that we think so much about a moment. I was literally washing my hands in the sink, and we have like a basement unit, so our windows are like right here in the ground level. And I just always think about like people seeing me as I'm in my kitchen, which is funny because we have blinds, I like to keep them cracked, have some natural light come in, but our door is right there, so the door is on the right side of the window. This is a mirrored view, so it looks like left, but it's my right side window. I'm washing dishes this way. There's a light right here outside, and that's where I think that these people are just gonna like have light cast into my brightly lit kitchen just to see what I'm doing. I'm like, who cares? We think about a moment so much. We run through the details of what could be and what is celebrated as an anxious feeling or a I'm being watched feeling, or not making dishes makes you cool, but doing dishes is cool. Making them, Doing dishes though, that's cool. I'm doing dishes, I want to get every little bit. Made all that food, bought all that food, can't even wash all that food off. Is it like a stain that's forever with me? No, I'm thankful for the food. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it in my next meal, which is going to probably be something better because it's current. What was, we appreciate it. And we appreciate that we had it. And you wouldn't know that this moment was so good unless you had a negative moment to compare it to. And to think that I'm thinking about an individual moment as it's passing, as time lapses, as other people have thoughts simultaneously in accordance to time. Simultaneously. That being that I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about at 3 minutes and 33 seconds of this video right there. And up until that time, you were waiting for me to say what I was going to say, That's because your attention's here and it's more directed. But let's say you're driving a car, you're not thinking about your turn signals. Sometimes it's just like you just do it. You don't even think about it. Other people, earlier drivers, they're like, oh, when do I signal? When do I get over? When, or just anxious drivers, whatever it is. Everyone is perceiving in a different way. And that's what I'm saying is you can't know what someone else is thinking, but we're all stacking these moments of, yeah, I believe this is true. Yeah, I believe this is how things go. Yeah, I think you're supposed to merge at this time on the interstate. And if that guy doesn't, he's a fucking idiot. And if I don't do it at the right time, you get self-conscious or you just don't give a shit. And, either way is a perspective. And it doesn't mean it's the only two perspectives. There's endless perspectives. There's someone a mile down the road who encountered that driver who failed to signal to get on the interstate, and he was a perfectly fine driver, courteous, more cautious, stopped, let the person walk in front of him. Just like you don't know the stacking events of other people's lives, and we get so caught up. And I always think that my facial expressions are more defined than they really are, where in my mind I think I'm like, what? Like I can see my face now to actually compare to what I imagine it will look like, and it's like, just sitting there pondering things in public or just wherever. And again, even in my kitchen where I get self-conscious, it's like, it's okay to be self-conscious, to be aware, to not worry about who you are around people or by yourself, and by yourself, with a dog, with a woman, with a friend, with family, without anything. It's all perfect. It's all set up exactly where it is, and we're doing fine. And we don't realize that everything is so okay. It's just we have stacked these moments. Like, if you're going in for a job interview, some people might have this belief that you have to be on point, you got to be ready, to answer these specific questions. And it's just like, we've gone through processes over time, and that's what we do as humans. We think that we're running circles, and really it's a line. Like, think of it, instead of life being like the expectation of spiraling up or down, I would say up or down. Instead of, people think we're doing circles. Like, slinky is a good way of explaining what I'm talking about. As humans, we think things are so linear. So linear. Like, we're thinking about the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. At the same time, we always say we're stuck in cycles. That never made sense to me. I was like, you don't break a cycle. You're just repeating things and doing things to be, in a way, conditioned to believe, and reimbursing that belief that if you do this, you'll get that. And we think that a lot of it's up to us, and I've learned that, and I wouldn't even say I've learned, I've been told that I'm out of control in all of my abilities and willpower, and yeah, I'm me. I'm an individual, and it's insane to think that this is what people perceive as Seth. And some people will have a drive-by interpretation of me, whether it's the guy who failed to signal when he was merging on the interstate, or the perspective of the person who was watching the driver on the side of the road, and he slowed down and let the person cross. It's like, you don't know what that person is going through in a day, and why anything is good or bad to us. We're dumb. We don't know. We have a bit of an idea. Everyone has, I think, the perfect idea of what they think good and evil is in this life, and they're coming into the fullest understanding of that eventually. And to call it good and evil is so extreme, but that's what I have to do. I have to say that the difference, it's death or victory, and which one is more powerful to you, which one is the ultimate deciding factor. And I would choose victory over death every time, or so I would think, because what if it's my butt on the line? Do I get selfish? No, I've honestly expected most of my life that I'd just go, and I never thought it'd be up to me, and I always hoped for it. Like, that was a dark thought that I would always have. And just like, I've always thought this thing, after being pushed to an extremely dark place, and it's that you don't necessarily hope that other people could feel your pain and have your pain for a moment, for them to understand. Really, you just want them to know that it's real. You don't need them to feel what you felt. I mean, sure, the good, yeah. Like, we would hope that other people could have felt what we felt. The pain, I don't know. Me, I never could. I could never be like, if only you felt what I felt. I never, for some reason, have that thought. I just want people to know that it's real. And how could you know it's real? Because some of this stuff is way beyond flesh and bone pain. And sometimes it's the flesh and bone pain that helps us compare. And mental, soulful pain is just agonizing. Like you don't want it to exist. You don't want to exist anymore. That stuff happens a lot. And again, I'm saying a lot as if it's like a cycle, like it's a continuous thing, but it's different every single time. I think life is completely linear in the sense that, yeah, there's people spinning and doing circles and seeming to repeat the same patterns, have the same lifestyle, have the same ambitions, but it's like, how do you know that they're not contemplating change and having these ideas of being pushed in certain directions going through their head that's causing them to do what they do? So many environmental factors, so many factors within your own mind, within your own body, your own capabilities, your own, down to the science of what is the DNA makeup of your ancestry. You can base a lot of this stuff in science, and it's just like it all comes down to what are you doing in the moment and being aware of it. And sometimes we're not aware. I mean, people get blackout drunk, people overdose on heroin, people do all sorts of things where you're not there, you're not in your body, or so you feel. Your mind is being, in a sense, persuaded so much to be in this state that is not where you feel in control of your body. And that's a state of mind that I think I lived for a number of years, where I was just like here's my eyeball and here's me living right behind it, like being pushed emotionally and spiritually in so many places that were just damaging. And I would trust people that I had the deepest faith that they were gonna be good people. And was I always good? No. Did I have control over that? I'm not so sure. That's what I'm saying. When I was this far behind my eyes, and I'm either have a huge eyeball or I'm showing you the front, like it's that close. Like there's a gap. You can see the gap. Not feeling like yourself is something. And then when you have this complete loss of self, of identity, of being connected that you're there, connected to the fact that you're there. Is it a fact? I think we all just believe it. That's what I was saying in the beginning and ranting and raving about, was it's you're believing you're in a pattern. You're believing that you're stuck in this cycle. And it's all going through time. We're all going on this line, and we don't know what this other person next to us is going through. We don't know. We just believe that they're there. They're wearing clothes, probably. They're smiling, frowning, stone cold. You see them at your job. You see them at school. You see them at a coffee shop, at the mall, skate park, anywhere. You just see these people. There's regular people. And we're all given this path of experience. And to think that anybody else is having a better or worse time, I just don't know. Do you know that I just don't know? Do you know that I just don't know? I don't know that I just don't know. I wanted to do Chappelle Show. Now let's start the show. I'm not going to edit any of this. This is 14 minutes and 8 seconds of me just talking about just a glimpse into, I guess, the ability for me to even say this is what I think life is like, is everyone's experiencing stuff and we're going through it at the same time. We're just not having the same experience. Similar, like I was saying, we build upon these societal norms, these norms of the era, and in a time where people are scooting all over the globe. A lot of stuff is happening with our country in the U.S., overseas. I mean, there's lots of immigration and That's from things that happened long ago that have been stacking. And here we are in the moment making decisions. We're not making decisions, we're choosing choices. We come to a conclusion of a decision after contemplating something, whether it stacked up and it was, where do you want to eat? And then you just said Taco Bell and you went to Taco Bell. Or it was, where do you want to eat? I don't know. Do you want to get tacos? I don't know. That's already 2 layers of thinking about something. And how long does it take you to break that down? Each person's different. We're all contemplating, assessing things on a, what people would call like a natural, instinctive drive sort of mind, where you're contemplating something so much that it becomes the only thing stacked up and weighing on every other decision. It's like, oh, but I gotta wait for this. Well, you're waiting on a friend, you're waiting on a call to come through, you're waiting on anything you could be waiting on. I think that's what we do too. We continue to go through time. We say we're waiting, but we're still going through time. Is the person next to us waiting? Do they give a shit about what you're going through? Maybe. You don't know. You don't know the extent of their concern for the people around them, even if you don't know them, even if they're your best friends, even if they're your family, your kids, your wife, husband, anybody, or if it's a complete stranger on a bus, on a train, just walking through the street, walking at the mall, you bump into somebody. What do? You don't know until it happens. And just being polite. Are you gonna say something? You're gonna do nothing? I really kind of like the societies where if you bump into somebody, you just keep going. Like we're so used to saying sorry in their Midwest culture, and when I say used to, I mean I live here. A lot of people are seemingly expressingly apologetic. Doesn't mean they are. It just means, everyone in this whole world has insecurity. A lot of other places are not expressing it the way that we used to. Not to say that it wasn't happening, it's just, what are these norms? I'm experiencing my norm, and I'm believing things other people tell me throughout history. I'm believing books, I'm believing other people's knowledge, drunk at the bar. It's just like, you never know where your info is going to come from, and is it true? It could be. Were you there? Were you in that moment? Did you see things with your own eyes? People in the same experience will have different perspectives, and you can only describe something so far in detail, other than having that literal experience and being that close to someone behind their eyes. Even then, it's like, are you really living? Are you still experiencing based on your brain and not necessarily what else is out there? I think everyone's experiencing just what they need to experience right now. The phrases that have kind of upset me over the years have been, oh dude, you should have been there. I was like, why? Was where I was not as important? I just automatically self-conscious, and the people I was around, I don't know if they knew that they were doing that, but they were doing that. It was pushing me to just be like, what I'm doing really not matter? That I'd have the same people tell me things like, you're the reason everyone feels bad. You're the reason everyone wants to hurt themselves. You're the reason everyone is depressed in this house. You're the reason everyone fights. And I was like, oh man, I'm really believing this, what can I do? I would always say, what can I do to not be an asshole? And I know I'd be an asshole at times. It's just I was who I was to certain people at certain times. And let's say I was talking to a whole room. There's like different ways how this goes. They experience it, they talk about it, they're around it, they're considering what could have been, or it's something where you say something to somebody and they kind of telephone it, you know, they tell someone, they tell their friend, they'll tell their friend, and it's just like people know about stuff, and it's historical. We're so private. We still want our privacy. It's just we're in such an explicit world. Everything's just there, everywhere. But are you behind your eyes, or are you living and actually being and believing that you're part of this big thing that's going on around us? And it's not even what you believe, because you won't believe what you believe right now later, probably. You're going to experience someone more. You're going to experience an activity more. You're going to experience a situation more. You're going to experience commuting to work. You're going to experience heartbreak. You're going to experience drunkenness. You're going to experience lying, contemplating stealing. I don't know. Every possible thing that you could ever come into. Whatever you're going to go through, you're going to go through. Whatever you've been through, you've been through. I like to say this to people. It's like everything is so crucial to the up until the point of here you are right now, being where you're being. Everything is so crucial. Everything that everyone else does that affects us. Some guy was like, the butterfly effect? I was like, that's changing something. This is how it is, you know? But yeah, the butterfly effect of a butterfly's wings would create a tsunami. That's, yeah. Or you've seen that domino thing. It's like 8 dominoes, and it starts out like this big, and the last one's like off the ground this tall, like 7-8 feet tall. I don't know. Am I 9 feet tall? Did I just go below my head? Whatever. And the smallest one knocks over the biggest one within 8 dominoes. So just being conscious that we are affecting people, and you know, sometimes we're not, and we don't need to be. We don't necessarily need to do either. It's just what you will do. I like to say this thing where you look back in the snow, you could have thought, oh, I should have went up the ridge, or I should have went down here, I should have went on this part, whatever your brain was thinking. Oh, you turn around and see your footsteps. You could have done all these things, but you only see one set of footsteps. This isn't I'm not walking with people thing. It's not a sad thing. This is a literal, you're walking in fresh snow by yourself, making decisions. Not making decisions. Come to the conclusion of a decision by making choices, creating choices, fucking choosing choices. I don't know. Choosing choices sounds best because things are presented to you. Again, this goes so deep. You look back in the snow, there's only one set of footprints, unless you're on a hoverboard or snowmobile. But just pretend you have 2 legs and you're walking. You're walking in the snow. You don't see all the could have been trails, you know, going off. You just see the one trail, and you're walking ahead, and there's your footprints being made behind you. You didn't make any other choice, even though you could turn around and say you coulda, shoulda, woulda. Didn't do it, so what are you gonna do? Go where you go. Keep going where you're going. What are you gonna do? You don't know. You have such a good idea, and it's just not what it is. It's not. To think this. Let's say it's your birthday party, and they're like, were you surprised? And like, oh, it's exactly how I thought it was going to be. Let's say you were excited. Yeah, say it was a good thing. I knew you were going to surprise me, but it's exactly, this is perfect. Do you think it's perfect because you know what's going to happen? Or do you think it's perfect because you're okay with how things are in that exact moment? Imagine having that kind of peace endlessly, never ending, never going away, just okay with how everything is going on around you, no matter how many people, who they are, whether you know them or not. You're concerned for them in a sense that you love them. And let's say you are able to give them everything you can ever want to give them. Just imagine. Alright, so 25 minutes. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's not getting annoying. Alright, I'm just gonna randomly read something. Oh man. So, I don't believe that we have free will. I don't believe we have absolute control over our own bodies. Quick example, if you get a disease, do you want that disease? I would like to say probably not. And if you had free will, you could will that disease to go away. Sure, you could back that up, throw it on science, and go down what you believe works. Like I was saying earlier, you've built these societal patterns. Let's say you're in the medical field and you don't know how to fix this thing. This patient comes in, you think it's going to work. This shot, this procedure, whatever, doesn't work. You believed it was going to work. At least we'd hope so, being the ones that are in charge of hopefully preserving life on this earth. You're a doctor. It doesn't work. What do? What happens when you fail, You don't want to fail. We're going to say it's chance that you failed, or we're going to say it's all these other variables you had no control over. Is that why it failed? You don't know. You don't know the one reason. You could sit around at the bar and have kumbaya drunk moments of, it's how it could have been, could have, like, growing up playing sports, you always heard things about, like, oh man, we would have kicked their asses or something, like back in '88, I could throw a football over the mountains, like that kind of stuff. So I don't believe in free will. I believe that we're all going through this experience uncontrollably, which I think is ironic, because one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. We're constantly in a battle between spirit and soul, the soul of man and the Spirit of God. And God puts that there for us to struggle, for us to toil with, believing that what we're getting is what we deserve, or maybe not even deserve, what we believe is coming. What is afterlife? What is life? The meaning of life currently? What is hope? What is love? What are these things? And it's a very roundabout, whimsical way to say, what does God want? And can God get what he wants? Alright, so I'm just going to have to start reading. It'll be 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16, it says Concordant, literal New Testament, with keyword concordance. So this is Greek texture, Greek text, and it's from Greek to English, which I'm reverse cam. So Greek to English, whatever, don't matter. And the concordance is these interchangeable words that can go in, because sometimes in English there are multiple words for one Greek word, or let's say in English there's one English word and it can mean 3 different Greek words, like the word hell. The word hell is not in the Greek language, and it's really all people believe anymore is, oh, you're going to hell or you're going to heaven. And people think of this place, hell, as, oh, it's just God's doing justice. And it's not justice, it's the thought of eternal death. How do you eternally die? You're dying. When you're dead, you're dead. Alright, I don't want to argue this point too much on the internet. This is where it's going to go. Here, I'm going to read 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is inspired by God and is beneficial for teaching, for exposure, for correction, for discipline in righteousness, that the man of God may be equipped, fitted out for every good act. Well, where it says for exposure, for correction, for discipline, if you were to think of that and hear that in your modern state of mind, and this is why history does matter, correct history does matter, in the sense that you might believe something's true, but something is true. There is something true in this world. Not of this world, in this world. And that thing is the truth of God's will. And God's will is that every man, every created thing with a breath will be with God. Everything. When I say I don't believe in free will, I'd say I don't believe in free will, that nobody has control over what they're doing. It might feel like it in a moment. Throw a little bit of weed in there. Throw a little bit of cocaine in there. Some alcohol. Throw anything in there. Throw a pretty woman in there in front of a bunch of men. You know? Throw a man with a puppy in front of a bunch of women. You know, just watch these people be people. And you're observing while you're being. You're part of groups in people's minds. You're in these little circles I was talking about, you know. And you're a lot of things to a lot of people. And to God, you're His. And He loves that He gets to show us the ups and downs of this life. He doesn't necessarily, I would say He absolutely loves it all. And because it all helps us appreciate Him more by seeing the contrast of life, the difference of black and white helps you see an image, you know. Look at this Crush t-shirt. Crush is my thing. I love the shit out of it. This is black and white, you know. You can see that design because there's contrast. Like if this was all just white, if all you saw was that, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's contrast, but like it's pretty much just white. Yeah, you'd probably rather look at something fucking sick like that. Whatever. Mad promo. Shirt's not for sale anymore. So, I don't know. I don't think I have any that are old. Anyways, I love what I do. I love this Cruise brand. I love it. Does anyone else need to love it? No. Do I appreciate if they do? Yeah. Am I okay if people shit on it? Yeah. Am I okay if people appreciate it and love it and are thankful for it? Yeah. Am I thankful if no one's talking about it? Yeah. And Crush is just this thing that God gave me. It's like this it's crucial. Without it, where would my life be? I can't even think about it because it's here now and I appreciate it. There was times where I'd get really fucking high. Like, I'd do acid or something and I would like just scream fuck Crush. Like I don't even know what it is. I don't care about it. I don't like, it's this thing and other people seem to just like not like it or whatever. You know, I'd be in my own mind, as drugs do. They put you in focusing on this one heavy thing pretty much. And for a lot of us, I'm guessing it's pleasure. That's why people do drugs. But when you're maybe feel like you're fighting pain to get to pleasure, reminds me of that song Aeroplane by Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's like, I like pleasure spiked with pain. In music is my aeroplane. Is my aeroplane. That, and it was like, oh, he's so spiteful. That motherfucker's always spiked with pain. Something like that. And I don't know what he says, but yeah. Do drugs, listen to music. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, there's shit speaking to me. I think there's a lot of spiritual activity in drugs. I think it's a lot of spiritual activity all around us. We just don't see it. I mean, you do some drugs, it'll elevate you to a place where I think you're messing with the gods that capital G God created, and those are demonic beings, and we don't see them. I don't think we see them. I don't think we truly can. But what we do is we see the distortion, the good and the bad. If life was completely neutral, we wouldn't have much appreciation for anything. We'd all just be like robots, just going to and fro, having expectation that the next thing's going to work, because it does, because we're robotic. The thing about being willed through this life is a lot of shit goes wrong. We call it human error. Human error. Like, we even named something after ourselves, or God did, absolutely. Relatively, he let it up to us to come up with these words, and to think we named something human error. They had to give a procedure chart of a warehouse a whole new word because machines were used so much. There's like, oh, we had a casualty. You die? No, just a human error. Tim got his arm stuck in the fucking press again. Oh. Humans. Yep. Gonna give him some weekends off or something. I don't know. Anyways, what I did say is all scripture is inspired by God and is beneficial. And one of the things the concordance does, I'll show it to you. Oh. You can see that. It's a TD behind 4. And what that is it changes it to toward. 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 This is the concordant part. Mirrored, of course. Oh my gosh, it won't focus. I can show you. Anyways, it says TD, which is changes 4 to toward. What I was saying is 4 is like, kind of expect it. Toward is like you're going towards something. You're being propelled towards something. You're driving in a car. You can see that you're moving, you know? You don't maybe think about it because it's where you're going. But when you think about where you're at, you're moving through something. We can all say that we're moving through time. Oh, human construct of time. Like, no. No. Do you have control over us spinning like this? Well, more like this. On our axis. That's spinning around the sun. Spinning with other planets. Everything affects everything. We're having weather patterns. The moon affects the rise of the ocean, the tide, you know, like all that shit. I don't have to be too scientific and back